Io apro il mio. Aperto. La metto il via.
Ok.
Good morning. I'm Emanuele Tessarolo, President of the Association Cinque Vie of Milan, the association which take care of the organization of these meetings. I want to give our welcome to the Hong Kong Baptist University for this Design Made in Hong Kong meeting. A big thanks goes to Stefano Fossati, the director of the Italian Institute of Culture, the Hong Kong, that really wanted these meetings. Now for me is the moment to introduce to you our creator, Mrs. Annalisa Rosso. Please, Annalisa.
Thank you, Emanuele, and thank you everybody for being here. We are very happy to being at the first webinar of this series that we organized with the aim of building a bridge and a conversation between the schools in Hong Kong and the designers scenario here in Milano. As we all know, the last goal will be an exhibition during the upcoming Milano Design Week, together with the Cinque Vie and the sponsorship, of course, of the Italian Cultural Institute. And thank you again to everybody for the support. I'm very glad today of introduce you the Italian designer Sara Ricciardi, that I am sure it will be really interesting and inspirational for all of us because of her experience in pushing the borders of materials, of aesthetics, and of ideas more in general. I have been lucky to follow her work since the very beginning, and I have to tell you that I'm very impressed with the consistency of her approach and of her continuous surprising us and being very, very sharp on her intervention. So I give her the words, I give her the stage, and she will present today her experience, her previous work, and this is the first step. During the second webinar, we will have a sort of selection that Sara will do for us of a special case histories from the history of Italian designers, so that with a special focus on your research, Sara will speak about some case that can be very helpful and inspirational. And the last webinar will be open to a conversation between Sara and the school and the Baptist University. Thank you to the Baptist University. And a special, last but not least, of course, a very special thank you to the Post Design Gallery in Milano that will host the exhibition. And in particular, I would like to give my personal thank you to William Figliola, that is now in Hong Kong. Ciao, William. I know that you are listening to us. Sara, it's up to you now. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm very, very happy to be here. And it's a pleasure to share this experience with all of you, Cinque Vie, Annalisa, Maria Cristina. I'm very happy to be with in connection, globally connected with Hong Kong. I'm very happy today. Actually, I would love to share with you my experience from the beginning, because I do love that you understand how I developed my approach and in which field I operate. And so I immediately start with with my presentation. Here we go. So, hello everybody, I'm Sara Ricciardi. I come from Benevento, that is a small town next to Naples in the countryside. And I have been studying in Milano at the New Academy of Art, Product Design, in New York and in Istanbul too. These two all these cities gave to me incredible emotions. Like my hometown, in Benevento, I developed my roots and my enthusiasm. In Milano, I actually approached to a great methodology, and I went into a deep awareness. In New York, I started to fail. It was very important to fail and to create actions. And in Istanbul, I had this experience in social activation and participation. I have my studio. It's since 6 years that I have my own studio. Actually, I have to say that we need chaos. Why I say that? Because I do love to stay in spaces in which I can, push my brain with many materials, many suggestions. I do love to combine things in order to create an inspiration for myself that sometimes it comes suddenly, But I have to say that we have to jump into situations. We have to jump in possibilities. This is in Carrara, where my marble my marble maker is a super great artisan, and I do love to say that we are, surrounded by possibilities, and we have to enjoy, to jump into it, and to select. So when people actually also, when my mother asked to me what I'm doing as a designer, because nowadays is a very opened field, I would love to actually say that it's divided in 4 points. So I have some problems with my connection today and with my presentation. I would love to divide my my design field in these parts: in products, art direction, interior, installation, and workshop. Starting from products, I have to confess that there was a very, very important moment, because I was full of enthusiasm, but I had to create a discipline. I have to exercise myself a lot. And I started with Ikebana practice. That actually, Ikebana is an ancient technique, discipline, philosophy, I would love to say, from Japan. That is the art to arrange flower and to create, attentions, a balance. So I started to create my own balance. I was making this. Here we go. I started to go out and to see. And to see little branches, dead nature, and leaves. And I started to create these supports in order to have a vision, to select a moment, and to create attention. The last pose, like a dancer, a dead dancer that has this last pose on the vase, on the support. So I started with this kind of shapes and forms. I started to develop this emptiness, this connection between material, between fullness and emptiness. And I started to create, to arrange flower, and to always question myself about this balance. So after this collection, that was my first collection, that actually was with Annalisa during a fair in Turin, I started to collaborate with artisan and company. For example, an interesting moment was Wallpaper, that is a magazine in London, asked to me after after that, they saw my collection Natura Morta that you saw before. They asked to me to make a project on the reeds diffuser, because they said, I mean, all the brands have this diffuser with the same shape. So I have always the same approach, the same methodology. I go to the company, I start to listen a lot, I start to draw a lot, I start to understand their philosophy, their goals, and the name of this brand is Culti, it's a culto. It's cult. It's something that it's something holy that is related with temples. So I developed, of course, also with 3D renders. I started with to create my temples. The collection is called Templi, reeds diffusers, in which I started to create this volume, and I changed a lot completely the shape of the product. And so in this way, so my personal research, entered the field of production together with a company. Then there was something very interesting in which, in one moment, a teacher asked to me to work on an Asian technique, on a technique that related to our territory, to Italy. So I decided to work on the La Certosa di Padula. That is a church in the south of Italy that I saw when I was young. Something you like something from your memory. It's very important to work with our fascination. And so what happened was that I made a research, and I discovered that altar in the church that I was amused by was created by these two incredible artisans in Florence. And it was not marble, as I thought. It was plaster. And I started to work with them. I actually, these are very old pictures from when I was a student, in which I rent a machine. I went there by car, and I started to work with them in the laboratory to create experiments. We started to extrude the material to create new color combinations. I was, making all the experiments at home, at their laboratory, with lots of effort and passion. And I started to create a collection of tables, a collection of stools, extruding the materials. And I was always very interested in creating the whole scene, because for me it's very important to create an experiment, but also an aesthetical vision. So this is a quid collection. And then what happened, it was that, a foundation asked to me to go to Caltagirone in Sicily, and to work with this amazing artisan. So in Caltagirone, we have a huge tradition of ceramic. As you saw before, I started to work. I always create my own studio in the artisan shop, making my mood board, my pictures. I select materials. He was very, very good with the turning wheel process. And as you can see, he has very big arms. What does it mean? That he's very able to create a huge conic shapes on the turning wheel. And then I went out to make a walk, because for me it's very important to go out and to receive suggestions from the space and the landscape. And I saw this kiosk that was amazing for me in the city center of Caltagirone, and I started to draw to make my little drawings inspired by it, to select colors that were related with the territory. And I create a Resti, a collection of stools for the GAM, the Gallery Art Museum in Milan, and I created it, and then I took picture with the people that were working inside. I was working also with glass with Chiara Valentini in the territory of Brescia, and she was very expert in this technique of sheets of glass with, little pieces of glass on the top. So I call it the collection clumpy glass, because it's a smooth glass, but it's a very, very, very material. And I created this collection for a gallery of art in Paris. This is a stool. Or, for example, the collection Fauna with Venini and Visionaire, another brand in Italy, in which I created this collection. I was inspired by the skin of animals. These are coleopters, and so as you can see, there was my first drawing from the beginning, and then the recreation. This is a horse, and you can see here the vase that took shape from this is a blowing system that we developed in the furnace Venini Fornace in Murano. Or Metamorphosi, that is a collection in which I was very inspired by this moment. I was walking, I always suggest to people to lose themselves at the beginning. It's very important to don't see clearly an object. It's very important to be open. And there was this cascade of glass. This is just a waste, Is waste, is glass wasted in the furnace, and I was totally incredibly shocked when I saw it, because as you can see, glass has two soles. One is very sharp and one is very smooth, and I decided to create this collection called Metamorphosis, just because I wanted to show these two souls, this duality of glass. And here, this was the moment, the black one, in which I discovered this shape. And these are supports, these are shapes that you can see here, my Metamorphosis for Visionaire. Or this glass, this ceramic collection called Libra, that is called, Libra in Italian means balance, in which you can balance the vase because you put a stone on it. If not, it will fall down. This was created with an artisan in Vietri. And this is my last collection that I presented just 1 week ago, that is called Ora. From Ora et Labora, it's something that the monk were saying in the monastery. It means pray, it's like a prayer. And I developed some tools like the fragrance holder, the fountain, like in a circle, that you can see the water that come back to itself, like the circle of life, and the clessidra, the sand clock, in which you can feel the time that comes into your hands like a, like you can feel the time on your hand with the sense that is pouring in it. And then I have this fascination. I do love to work with materials and products, but I do love also the spatial feeling. And so that's why I moved into installations. And there was because I was very interested in understanding body, senses, and performance, So there was exactly a moment in which I started with the installations, and it was when Alice Story Liechtenstein asked me to visit her castle in Austria, Schloss Solleneck Design. It's an art residency, is a museum, it's actually a castle where they live, and she gave to me a word to work with, and it's legacy. And I was, as I told you before, I started to walk, and to receive the space. And you can see all the ancestors that are looking at you, you can feel the weight of legacy. You can feel the how the space is giving you many connections. So I started to create my installation that was called Arcadia. I started to make my little models, and I felt how the legacy has a bowl on you. I started with my sketches. I started with my wallpapers. I started. Here there is a video of my installation. So I created these. This installation in which people were able to play with their own legacy, were able to play with what they have. And so for me, this was very, very important. This actually was an installation that I made for Cinque Vie. And this is us inside the installation. And this is me collapsed at the end of the design week, because we always need lots of effort to create our projects. And this is another installation that just I had the pleasure to create with the Cinque Vie, No Signal Zone, in which I developed these. I gave to people the possibility. Nowadays we are very hyper controlled. I use these eyes all around the courtyard because, as I mentioned, for this society in which we are on many socials, we are very, very monitored. Our credit cards, our GPS, our calories, whatever. We are always connected. So I imagined I created this space in which in September, actually in October, in which people were able to hide themselves from the eyes of our society. I created some filters in order to create digital bottles in which, with these violet bubbles, you can exit the hyper connection. But the point is, are we ready? Actually, can we really disconnect ourselves? This was very interesting. It was a great paradox because it was an installation very, very, very in which people took so many pictures, because actually it's a paradox. We are not very ready to be disconnected. Maybe our digital identity is very important. My point is, with installation, you have to create messages and to actually ask yourself something and to give to other people questions. It's very important to give questions to our society. And meanwhile, I made also Crocevia and other installations in which I used many symbols, the very, very important symbols from alchemic knowledge, and I created this square in the city center of Milan, in which people could just enter and share in this moment in which we are experiencing the social distancing. I needed to create my answer to the social distancing, and I do understand our difficult moment, and I do understand that we have to wear masks and to of course don't contaminate the other, and to be careful, but at the same time culture doesn't have to stop. Culture has to, we need to keep ourselves aware and in the knowledge always. So I created these moments in which all artists, people, all the people that wanted could just enter and read poetries and play pianos and share lectures. And people actually loved to have these sharing moments. And then interior, that is also a great part in which, for example, I was making these feather brushes, and so Luisa Via Roma in Florence, that saw that work, asked to me to create an entire environment. So I created this Eden, inspired by the Italian garden, and with my feather machines, because I do love movements with a fountain inside. Always creating my wallpapers, always creating my, using a lot my dreams, my oniric system, my symbology, because for me, symbols are important. Or L'Île des Serges, for example, the installation that I made 2 years ago. So I always create many videos, many sketches, in order to understand, the directions of my project, to give a great graphic impact, mental impact, because nowadays we work with words that are very important, and also we work with images. So we always have to understand that both needs to work really well. And so L'Île des Serges was this brand that asked to me to create an installation with their textiles, and their textiles are made out of polymers. So you can see here a volcano, this kind of pink swimming pool, in which you can see the very beginning of the polymers. And I created an island, because nowadays we are very related to plastic islands that we can see in the Pacific Ocean. But the point for me is that it's not the material that is plastic that is terrible for our planet. Is our fast production that is very terrible for our planet, because, for example, these polymers are incredible, can be it's a very long lasting material, and we have to understand that our production has to be slower, has to be completely reimagined. And so I created these super long lasting islands, always with my team. It's very important to understand that it's great to work alone. These are the guys that work with me in my studio, and I love them. And it's very important always to show the family. And collective as well, because I also have a collective. I work with these three women. We are the ladies' room. It's actually something that happened just because we started to make fairs together, but we really felt that was important to create connections with other people and to make projects together. And so, for example, we create installations for art design galleries. This is Mirror. It's a collection of lenticular mirrors in which you have to move your body all around in order to construct to see your reflection inside. And workshops. I do love to work with students. I do work to, I do love my my practice. I teach social design at the New Academy of Art, and social design means how to make projects with the participation of communities, of people, projects that born all together. So we usually go in places like this, for example, huge neighborhood, and we start to talk with people, because it's very important to listen what our city is saying, what our society has to say. And I always bring my students all around, and we always create these kind of moments, because with food, guys, we always create a great sharing system mood, and we are able to share visions, and to also to handle complexity, and to handle people maybe that starts to fight. Is very, very important to handle complexity. And then it's important also to work with our own hands, to feel the participations, and to involve all the old people, young people inside the process. And this is, for example, a European playground with little islands that on wheels that we created to take parties in this neighborhood. And this is really important, because you can see how we don't want to create ghettos. We want to actually create a connection between all the generation. And we need to share energy. I work with kids, I work with old people, I work with students. And the point is, when you share your energy with the others, it's always incredible what it comes out. And you can surprise yourself a lot. Also in buildings, I work for the Milan government in order to recreate this kind of situations all around the city with the people. And they asked to me to create the first manual to create a party in your neighborhood, in your building, where lots of people lives into it. And actually, we also create articles for magazines in which we explain our experiences. And this is for me very important, because when people needs to understand how powerful is stay all together. And so, guys, my point is very important to build up and to it's not build up, maybe it's more we need to listen our identity. We have our personal experience, we have our personal personality, we have our identity. We have to dive into it. We really have to hug our identity. We need to start to it's very important, the collecting part. You need to collect and to collect and to collect, and words and experiences and images and materials. And then you have to start to make experiments. It's very important to, at the beginning, Picasso was saying the work, the inspiration comes from your working time. What does it mean? It means that while you're doing it, it comes out, something different, something that bump into your brain, and it's, the spark that turn on your fire. You need to make mistakes. For example, in Italy, we are really good because we are terrible because mistakes are very not allowed. But mistakes are important. Just who doesn't try to make things doesn't make mistakes. We need to make mistakes and to understand from it. And we need to make exercises every day. Creativity, guys, is not something that belongs to you. It's not something that you're born with. Creativity is a muscle, and you have to exercise every day with many stimulations. You need to observe and to be curious. You need to find little details that inspire yourself a lot. And you need to find your little daily dose of wonder. How beautiful it is. It's our planet is incredible. If you don't find your daily wonder, maybe there is something that doesn't work. And take it easy. This is me with kids in a crazy playground, because in my opinion, sometimes we also need to put a bit of ironical, attitude in our works, and take your chance. Now is the moment to take your chance and to turn on your fire. So thank you very much for paying attention to this to my presentation, to my work. And now, if you have any questions, I would love to answer to you.
So thank you, Sara. It has been very nice, and I think that you presented a lot of starting point for new reflections and new approach, and this is exactly our goal. We would like to activate a conversation, a dialogue. So I would be very glad to receive some questions for Sara from some observations, some other point of view, and if there are any, I would like to say goodbye. Thank you to everybody, and we'll see to the next webinar. And we are always here for you, so feel free to write us and to ask for anything. And we are very glad to be on this project all together. Thank you. Grazie, Sara.
Grazie.
Bye. Thank you.